Malaysia will accept 800 asylum seekers who enter Australia illegally by sea in a groundbreaking deal between the two countries to tackle people smuggling. In return, Australia will resettle 4,000 registered refugees living in Malaysia, according to a joint government statement late Saturday. The political opposition in Australia slammed the plan. Australia has long attracted people from poor, often war-ravaged countries hoping to start a new life, with more than 6,200 asylum seekers arriving in the country by boat last year. Most are from Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, Iran, and Iraq, and use Malaysia or Indonesia as the starting point of a dangerous sea journey to Australia. This landmark agreement will help take away the product people smugglers are trying to sell, a ticket to Australia, said the Australian Prime Minister Julia Gillard said in a separate statement. The key message this will deliver to people smugglers and those seeking to make the dangerous sea voyage to Australia is do not get on the boat, she said. Under this arrangement, if you arrive in Australian waters and are taken to Malaysia, you will go to the back of the queue. Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Tun Razak said the agreement is beneficial to both countries and strongly signals that his own nation shouldn't be used as a transit point. Australia will fully fund the arrangement, the joint statement said, adding that the one-off pilot project aims to undermine the business model of transnational criminal syndicates, particularly in people smuggling and human trafficking in this region. The 800 people transferred to Malaysia will have their claims processed by the United Nations, and those in need of international protection will not be refiled. Both countries will work closely with the UN High Commissioner for Refugees and the International Organization for Migration to implement the arrangement, which will be finalized soon. Australia's position leader Tony Abbott said the agreement may be good for Malaysia, but was lousy for Australia. This idea that they will take one and we will take five just risks Malaysia becoming the open back door to Australia, he said. ASEAN will defer the admission of Timor-Leste into the ASEAN this year because of the lack of consensus. Timor-Leste had earlier submitted its application to join ASEAN in early March 2011, but is now being deferred due to the absence of consensus from ASEAN member countries in Jakarta meeting. Singapore strongly opposed the enlargement, stating that the more studies should be done on the country's preparedness and the geopolitical implications, while Indonesia, Thailand, and Cambodia backed Timor-Leste membership. In the draft chairman's statement, the issue of Timor-Leste was not mentioned. Timor-Leste gained its independence through violent separation from Indonesia in 2002 and is now being monitored by its neighbors to stepping up onto the regional stage. From ASEAN view, the challenges faced in deepening regional integration are well known, and adding new members, especially ones with very different levels of economic development and or different political values, will clearly not make integration any easier. ASEAN expert Kawi Jongkit-Thawan wrote in his article that the logic for ASEAN to admit Timor-Leste as a member is similar to the imperative for admitting Myanmar in 1997, namely that alone Timor-Leste, like Myanmar, may become too dependent on Beijing. He also pointed out that Burma and East Timor shared one commonality, which is the intimate ties with China. Both nations are rich in energy resources. It is seen by many that it is not going to be easy for Timor-Leste to join ASEAN at this point in time, when ASEAN is just 4 years away from its target of achieving an ASEAN community. However, it will also be doubly hard for Timor-Leste to have to join an already full-fledged ASEAN community.
When we come back, we will have another phone interview with the Executive Vice President at SCB Asset Management, Khun Vichu Janthatapt, after the break.